don't be scared of your own personal power. Somebody encountering this video is already aware of their personal power. But I feel that there is hesitation, especially when you're feeling this. There is hesitation that's present in your psyche. But I don't think this hesitation is about uncertainty or the fact that you are uncertain about your personal power. It's something else. So hear me out, okay? Just before a plane kind of takes off, even if you're not scared of flying, that moment that the acceleration increases before it leaves the ground makes your body tingle a little bit because you're like, whoa, okay? So that point, that pressure before lift is your body responding to, the acceleration, and because the plane is going fast, and not necessarily because you are in danger, okay? And so that feeling of discomfort that you might experience in that moment isn't really like a warning, right? It's more about the proximity to flight, right? It's about knowing that you have to like get over this first, 5-10 minutes, and then everything will be okay after. So this is the same thing when it comes to your personal power, your growth, and your truths. That hesitation that's present is more to do with proximity rather than like you being uncertain that you have something within you that you'd like to express or that you'd like to show, or that you'd like to be visible. Okay, so I would say this is about proximity. And also I think it could be that you're living a particular identity, okay? And so you're getting this feeling of discomfort because that identity isn't coming close to what this personal power is, okay? And I really want to say as well that, your own personal power doesn't necessarily appear as, dominance or even confidence. It's often about that thing within, that quiet pressure that you feel, okay? So I think it's like when and you are so sure that you are operating below your capacity. It's like you're saying to somebody, oh, I just know, I just feel it. Like I feel like this is not me. I feel like I could do so much more, That quiet pressure, that thing that you feel inside, as though you're kind of like operating below your capacity, this mismatch, this is what creates the doubt. So when we say don't be scared of your own personal power, it's because there's like an awareness that this doubt that's created through what it is that you're feeling internally is going to make you hesitate. It's going to make you start questioning yourself. And I'm going to give an analogy here when it comes to growth specifically, because, not being scared of your own personal power is also associated with growth, okay? So if you think about an apple, an apple has a seed, right? A small seed, it's almost invisible, right? But you still have that growth around the apple. And then you think about a mango seed is bigger than an apple seed, right? A mango has a whole, pip or something, I think that's what they call it, a whole pip. And that's big, and there's still growth around that mango. And then you think about a coconut, right? The coconut is the seed itself. Very versatile, self-contained, all of that, right? These are 3 different fruits with different kinds of seeds, yet they all have growth. These are all growth, these are all power, but they're all different structures or different expressions. And so not being scared of your own personal power, using this fruit analogy is also a way for us to say that if your growth doesn't look obvious, okay, if it doesn't look obvious in the context of like, oh, it should be like this, it should grow how a coconut is growing, or it should grow how a mango is growing, then, it doesn't mean it's not happening, okay? It doesn't mean it's not happening or that there's no growth at all. Doesn't mean, I just did a double negative, doesn't mean it's not happening, okay? It just means that it's basically taking some kind of form that you haven't learned to value yet. So I think the emphasis here comes on the word value, Okay, you value mango differently to an apple. You value a coconut differently to an apple, but they're all versatile. They all have their functions and difference. So you're not being scared of your own personal power is also not being scared of how your growth appears, how your trajectory is, how your path might not necessarily be exactly linear, but that it might be linear, then, sorry, that looks more horizontal, doesn't it? It might be more linear than, what am I doing? Okay, it might be more linear than horizontal, then linear, then horizontal, and then maybe like it might take a parallel line somewhere, and then you might dip and dap, all sorts, okay? So, you not being scared, and this particular word scared also brings about this feeling of like awareness, and awareness can be associated with awakening as well. And when I'm talking about awakening, I don't mean this like big crazy moment where you think, wow, my eyes are open, I see it all. No, awareness and awakening can be a momentarily thing, can also come in waves, can feel very, very clear at one point, and another point it can feel like nothing, okay? So what I'm associating with this not being scared of your own personal power isn't necessarily about having immediate clarity about everything, okay? So, and the perfect example is like when you start to notice that distance between what you say and like the vision you hold of yourself, that's the point, that's the contrast that I'm talking about. That contrast is the awakening. For example, I say, you know what, I really want to be a writer, but I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not writing. I'm not even like, reading something. Do you see that contrast? That contrast comes when you're feeling scared. And so not being scared about or finding ways to not be scared of your own personal power is by initiating contact, or is by little acts of doing that brings you into this state of awakening. When you notice that contrast in not doing what you want to do, in comparison to the vision that you hold for yourself, then you can realize that that also is a moment of awakening, okay? And also I would say that, when I talk about personal power, I'm not talking about being aggression or even divine masculine or divine feminine or, whatever. This is about demanding some level of coherence from you. What can I do today that brings me closer to my ultimate goal here? How am I going to go from A to B? So it's going to require something from you. It's going to require your words. It's going to require your actions. It's going to require your self-concept, a new way of seeing yourself, like an increased self-concept. And then this is going to lead you to stop contradicting yourself and contradicting also the goal that you have for yourself. So this means, you start doing, you start embodying. Exactly. I think the perfect word here is about embodiment. Not being scared of your personal power means you start embodying who you are, what you feel. And I also believe that your personal power doesn't necessarily have to announce itself. This isn't about aura or dressing a certain way or doing something like this. Isn't about that. It doesn't need to announce itself. And so I think it becomes more obvious when you stop reducing yourself to what feels manageable. For example, you have something to contribute in a class. You need to say something that's going to be of value to a project. But you're like, you know what? No, I'm just going to be quiet because, I'm a lady and I shouldn't be this loud. Or I'm going to be quiet because, I'm a man and I'm in a room full of just women. It's not that. And the only way that this scary feeling is going to go is going to be through embodiment. And that fear is going to fade. It's going to start fading right after you start to embody something, not before it. Right? Before you take the jump, you'll be scared. But once you take the jump and you start doing, you start to embody this vibration. So if you think about like, Avatar or like How to Train Your Dragon or all these other things that these programs that talk about personal power and talk about someone learning to like either ride their dragon or grabbing something, some kind of power, they do this thing where they're like, you know what, sit with it, be still, you have to do it, take back your power, you are strong, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, go within. This moment, this thing, this is what embodiment means. Until you embody it and show the visibility, until you become visible, you're not going to stop being scared. So do not be scared. And I hope this message comes to you at the right time. Start today. Start now. Let it be now. So I'm going to leave you with some questions to sit with that you can ask yourself. That's if my page goes up. It did. So 2 questions I'll leave you with. One is, where am I minimizing my growth? My growth, because it doesn't match my expectations. Remember, just like the seed of an apple, do not diss it, do not diss it, do not diss small stuff, okay? Start doing it now, start today. And then the second thing will be, what version of myself is being reinforced every time I speak? And this covers the theme on embodiment. I hope you find this useful. Thank you.